is Chariot Delta, which is the third run of Chariot LARP, an immersive digital live-action role-playing game. I'm super excited about it. Yeah, this is just amazing. So you're not going to see me on screen, everyone, not today, but I have with me Korey, and we are going to go through character creation process, and it's going to be just super fun. So I'm so excited about this. Okay. So, Korey, welcome. You said you looked over the materials, and I want to start with a couple basic questions to go ahead and create your character. The first question I have, pronouns for you and your character, which do you prefer? Okay, and would you prefer the same for your character? Awesome. Okay, I just want to make sure I get that right because that's really an important thing here. Okay, fantastic. So having looked over the all of the materials, does anything stand out at you in terms of what kind of role you would like your character to have on the ship? And also keep in mind, you're the first of all of the Chariot Delta, so you're not going to overlap anything anyone else is doing. In fact, if anything, as I talk to other people, I'll be able to kind of integrate their stories and yours. So it's kind of an open field. So let me know what interests you. Awesome. Mm-hmm. How would you feel about, and I'm just suggesting this because we haven't had this yet, because so far I've played the captain every time. How would you feel about being like the executive officer, being like the second in command? Awesome, awesome. I'd like to give that a try. So just for you and for everyone watching to kind of understand, so every run of Chariot takes place in the same universe. So Chariot Alpha has already launched. Chariot Beta is getting ready to launch. So there are already these projects that are going to be out in space by the time your ship launches. And so far, we haven't had anybody playing an extremely high rank in the military except me as the captain slash GM. And I am very comfortable with it now. And I also like the idea of working together to kind of share some of the in-game responsibilities of that. And I've been doing that a little bit in beta, like some of like the social responsibilities, because my character is a good leader, but she's not like, oh, welcome, yay. Like I shift that off to somebody else. So I could also see, some of the organizational duties and just things that like the XO does on Star Trek, basically. I could see kind of like shifting some of those responsibilities and sharing them, and that would be really cool. So if you're comfy with that, we'll make you the XO. And just like real people, these characters have more than one role in life and more than one role in, more than one interest. So even though your character is the executive officer, he could also, like have a specialty in engineering or security or maintenance. I think that would be pretty cool. So I'm going to keep all of those things in mind, and then kind of like your secondary role, I'll assign you based on what other people do and do not want to do. Because if someone else is like, I want to be an engineer so bad, then I'll probably like give you security. So we'll go with that. And then, so in this setting, we're at the end of the century. Earth is kind of a war-torn place. So my character she's a war hero. She's been through all sorts of like war-related difficulties. She's kind of like, all right, I'm ready to leave Earth. There's nothing for me here. She actually hasn't even thought about her future that much. She doesn't have hobbies because she's like, I don't want to die tomorrow. That's kind of my hobby, So in terms of your characters, I would say background, his upbringing, and his current role in likely the military, how would you say he views leaving Earth? Yeah, absolutely. I ask the deep questions because, even if you don't have a character in mind, I just kind of want to go with what you want to play, and I'll kind of develop that for you. And you can start by thinking about like his background. So you could think about like his early childhood. Does he have any living family? And that could impact how he feels about leaving or staying on Earth. My character doesn't have any family, so she's kind of like, I'm ready to leave. But other characters sometimes, like one of our characters in beta has a pregnant fiance, and he doesn't want to leave her, right? So, he's trying to get her on the ship. Like, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with it. So, keep that in mind, too, as you answer the question. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Awesome. So he certainly sees it as like his duty to kind of to take this on, which I love that. Our characters are gonna have some great interactions because even though she's done with Earth, she feels the same way. Like this is my job. We're saving humanity. Okay, so I want to ask you a little bit about your character's background. Was your character rich, poor, privileged, not? Uh, Parents still living? What were his parents like when he was younger? Okay. Hmm. Do you think he did the track where he like went to college and then from there went to military and became an officer, or did he go straight from like high school to military? Yeah, they're hurting for military people. They would definitely be like, yes, please join. Okay, okay, I love it. Battlefield commission. Okay, there was in our lore, so we don't have a lot of canon lore because we've only done two runs of this so far. But I'm making a canon lore document since all of this stuff is in the same universe. So in the canon lore, I've created an event called the Battle of London, and the enemy is kind of nebulous because I try not to make it too much like the real world because that gets a little stressful. But the idea is that the U.S. Navy was participating in a battle to save London, and some of the previous characters, including mine, were actually at the Battle of London. So I'm actually thinking that would be a really cool battlefield commission opportunity for your character. Battle of London. And it would give him kind of like the status that he would need to be recruited onto this type of mission. So awesome. Now, different characters got selected for this in different ways. Most people applied and got accepted. Some people were like recruited or so, picked that way. It's also possible to have been like tricked into going. How would you like to have had your character become involved? Mm-hmm. Got it. Got it. I'm just taking some notes because some of this is it's interesting because there are some things coming to light currently in the beta run that are affecting future runs, and I'm thinking I can kind of use you to tie that together. Um, okay, awesome. Now, in terms of hot button issues of the day, aside from like this general war and leaving on Chariot, a lot of the other characters were concerned with things like genetics and reproduction on the ship. They are concerned with the arts and preserving our cultures. They are concerned with education. They're concerned with, like, it's a generational ship, so you're going to live and die on the ship and never see our Proxima B and never settle Proxima Endeavor. Your great grandchildren might. And artificial intelligence has been another point of discussion. This run may or may not include that. In the beta run, it was really clear as soon as I started talking to people, they were like all about talking about AI. So I was like, okay, we're just gonna like build this session around that. You're the first one for this session, so I'd like to give you the opportunity for you to set a bit of a precedent for this run in terms of issues you want to explore like that. The ones I mentioned are just a starting point. There are other things I've had in mind that you're welcome to use, like we know that Mars is travelable, and it's close enough to Earth at this point in time to not be so far that like we can start over there, which is why we're going all the way to Proxima. However, previous characters have like bought real estate there. One of the pilots in the first run got his start by piloting back and forth from Earth to Mars. So there's a whole lore about Mars that we really haven't touched yet. All we know is that you can buy real estate there, and that one of our pilots went back and forth. So there's that. I will say that certain topics are locked, like extraterrestrials are locked right now. But things like ship modifications are totally up for grabs. So the engine of the ship changes every time based on like the engineer's preferences. You can modify the ship. We are going to be, this is like sort of low-key info, but whatever, I'll say it even though we've only got like 2 people in the stream. There is going to be a Kickstarter effort happening soon, and so things like drawings of the ship and a map are going to be there. So I also kind of want to throw that out for you to be a part of developing that. So if you suggest something you want to see on the ship or in the world, that could very well actually end up in the map. So I'm going to be offering those things as like Kickstarter rewards, like pay X and get whatever on the map. But everyone who is already like paid to play is also welcome to contribute. So any ideas you have, go for it. Any hot button issues that you want to explore as this character. Mm-hmm. Okay. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. You want to make sure other people know how to run the ship, and that, like our characters' generation, like that all of their children know how to do things, and that it's not just automated. That's always like a pretty hot button issue too. Is your character maybe also some kind of like teacher or artist, or might he have wanted to become a teacher or artist had he the time to just do more than like survive? Okay. Hmm. Like a fine artist, a comic book artist. What are you thinking in terms of what he creates? A photographer. Awesome. So one other thing that we do, and I'm sure you saw this in the materials, although it's a lot of information I sent out, we have a repository, and it's like the chronicles of every run. And so what I welcome you and everyone else to do is to actually contribute to that as your character. And then at the end of all the runs for 2017, I'm actually just gonna like throw everything together in a PDF and publish for free download this like repository of information from every run. So if your character, has pictures or something, like you could just take some pictures with your phone and throw them into this Google folder, and they could end up there. That would be a really cool contribution as well. So yeah, and I've actually considered doing that too. Like I live near the Battleship, New Jersey, and I'm always like, next time I'm over there, I should like take pictures of myself, like near the ship, like this is my ship, that kind of stuff. So yeah, anything you want to do like that, not mandatory, but totally welcome. And I just want to mention that every time like the topic of art or like writing or creativity comes up. So cool. We can put in some photography stuff. Now you said he had somebody still on Earth, but it wasn't necessarily like a parent or like a lover or anything like that. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Awesome. I'll leave it general enough for you to be able to fill in some details. The way it works with the character sheet, it's usually about a page and a half long, and then I leave it open so that you can edit the document and add things in. I've never denied an edit, but I just ask that you track the changes just in case it's like too out there, and we want to be mindful of like issues that other people may or may not want to like explore. And we'll get into all that with our safety discussion as well. But generally, this is pretty much like a pretty solid foundation. I can say that your character being in the military will likely have some ties to my character in terms of like probably how he was recruited, which would be neat to explore because he didn't volunteer. And although he considers it his duty, I almost wonder if there's like what is between our characters. Is there like a resentment because she's like no, you're coming with me? Because what's going on right now in beta is Emily, my character, and they're exploring why there's an Emily on every ship. That's a whole nother side thing. But Emily has kind of been called to question on some topics. And one of those things that she's called to question on is why are you on every ship? And I foresee her in the future saying like, look, if you don't trust me, my second in command is a really like upstanding guy who's like also a war hero. Like if you don't trust me, trust that he'll do the right thing. So I kind of almost see her being like, the only way that I'm going to be able to retain command of Chariot Delta is if you're there with me. So it's like kind of a make it or break it for her. So I see that being like really cool and kind of like adding a layer of obligation for him to go. Like she loses her commands basically if he doesn't support her. So cool. I see a lot to write about here. I like that you're interested in exploring like 4 or 5 different topics because to me that means like you're a perfect fit to play the XO, and that you can help kind of shape that conversation. So, do you have anything else that you wanted to add in or explore for this character? we haven't defined that at all. And it's possible that every chariot looks entirely different. I was going to kind of not really totally define that until we got down to like the Kickstarter. That said, the Kickstarter is coming really soon. So I'm looking for input on that. So if you have any kind of, if you want to help shape that, especially for your specific run, that is great. Like, this is a very free-form game, and I totally want to kind of give you the freedom to explore as much as you want. So if you want to set a precedent for that, especially since you're going to be playing the executive officer, go for it. You could even write like a description, or I mean, we can't really use copyrighted images or anything like that, but if you have some like aesthetic samples or anything like that, you can throw them into the repository, make a new Google document that we can share. That's really cool. Like, we've done a lot of world building and culture building so far in Chariot. We have not really done ship building aside from the engine. And there's some cool discussion going on in different runs about what the engine is. If you want to get into that at all, that's fine too. There's like a LARP general chat on the Geek Initiative. If you have any questions about what other runs have done, or want to talk about that, or get ideas, go ahead and ask, because there's an engineer in alpha and there's an engineer in beta, and they're both extremely active. They're communicating with each other. They're making really cool lore, and I'm like, this makes me so happy, because I love that there's so much continuity between all of the sessions. So I don't want to like make you do more work, but if you want to define that, the door is open for you to do that. Mm-hmm. I love it. I really want to explore like the Mars lore and development that's just kind of organically happening. And it's not a big part of beta. I'm not going to try and force it on Delta, but for people who want to explore it, I think that's cool. So at the very least, I can put that in your history. I like that. Awesome. Anything else that you wanted to explore? Awesome. You're all set. So I am aiming to have characters out by like end of the weekend. The first session, and I wasn't really clear about this in previous runs, so I want to tell everyone, the first session is like an out-of-game meet and greet. We go over safety rules. So if I get your character to you like an hour before the first session, don't worry. It's totally, totally out of game. It's just to get comfortable, to meet everyone, to do a sound test all together, to figure out everything works, because it's a lot of tech we're using. It's not that bad. It's like all you really have to worry about is getting on Google Hangouts. But some people have kind of taken it to the max. Like, we've had people do hacks and all sorts of cool stuff. And as a result, we've changed it so now there's an in-game and an out-of-game chat room, because we've had like hackers come into the in-game room. There's so much cool stuff. So I want to give everyone a chance to get used to using Discord as well as Google Hangouts together, and to just kind of meet each other and be comfy with what they want to do. All right, so expect this probably by Sunday. I always do the characters in the order that these interviews happen, so you will be the first one. Awesome. If you have any other questions, Discord nowadays is like the fastest way to reach out to me, and also now that we have so many other players from previous runs, as well as Nick, my Discord admin, a lot of times if you ask a general question in like LARP General or in the general chat, if I'm not there, somebody else will know the answer. So especially things about gameplay and how to do certain things are answered. Most of the time, my answer is, it's a free-form game. Sure, go ahead. So feel free to don't worry about breaking the game. You're not gonna. Awesome. Well, I look forward to playing, and I will get a character written up for you soon. All right. Have a good night. Bye. Thanks, everybody, for watching.